We're here to talk about reimagining the water workforce. I'm Jonathan Sandhu, and along with Laurin, Benson, Jeremey Carnahan, David Grace, Kayson Smith-Bejgrowiz, and Jeremey Stachowski, we make up Group 2 of the WEF 2021 Water Leadership Institute. As you can see, we come from all over the globe. For us, water is more than just a career. It's our passion. Now, when you hear the word water, what emotions does it bring up in you? Are they positive? Are they negative? Neutral? If you don't have access to clean, safe water, you'll die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But despite this, we don't think of it very often, and there is a lot of work that goes into treating our water to making it safe for us. We're not great at communicating what it takes to treat water. A recent study from the American Water Works Association interviewed thousands of utility respondents and just about everyone else to ask about their communication. They found that, on the whole, the utilities viewed themselves somewhere between average and very good when it came to their communication outreach. Contrast that with just about everybody else, who viewed the effectiveness from average to very poor. We're environmental stewards. We need to use things like social media to get better at communicating. We need to help others reimagine water and the water workforce. The world of water is an integrated one, affecting many different groups. It doesn't matter your race, sex, creed, religion, origin, background. You're affected by water, and you're affected by water policy makers. But for most areas, if you look at the decision makers and you compare it to the local population, they don't always correlate. Why not? If you look at the workforce in water, not even the workforce typically corresponds to a local population. Why not? What can we do to change that? We're at an inflection point with water. Our current workforce is aging out, and despite water being a stable, well-paying, technologically advanced career, it's not typically viewed as an accessible career choice. Why not? We only hear about water in the news when it's something negative, like a drought or contaminated drinking water. Why is that? Why don't we think about water? Is that normal, or have we become spoiled? Let's hear from some others around the world on how they view water and water stewardship.
So this is based on my experience, not as tangata whenua, but in terms of working with tangata whenua on various water projects over the years. They have a view called Te Ao Māori, which is the overall Maori Perspective. So typically in our engineering world, we think of water as stormwater, wastewater, and drinking water. Whereas when you're talking with tangata whenua, they are thinking about the whole water cycle. And for them, those three types of waters, or those water services, are all interlinked. And also for them, it's not just about the physical relationship with water. And so Māori talk about the Maori of the water, which is to do with the spiritual essence of the water and how that's the life force. So water always has a life force, and when you're considering putting contaminants into the water or what you're doing with the water, you need to consider the effects on the life force.
When I think about, where I grew up, like channelized streams and like kind of a detachment to water from, the infrastructure and the water industry at the time, I'm thankful because I was always safe and I was always okay. I always had water coming into my sink and my bathtub, but at the same time, I do think that, there's so much opportunity there to do better by water, do better by it. And then kind of devolving responsibility as well from water industry to communities, so that we can't do a one-size-fits-all for all water industry type of things. And when we can meet halfway and educate community, and then community can kind of educate industry, I think that's just, there's opportunity there, and that would just be awesome for people. I've seen the detriment of that for people, like kupuna that have passed away without having that water restored to their lo'i. And so there is inequality in the industry that utilizes water, right? And so when I think about that, I do feel strongly in the sense that, you know, we really have to listen to our kupuna when it comes to water, industry or not.
It's apparent from those interviews that the thing that shapes people's views of water are their background and their experiences. For some, though, this means that water is taken for granted. For others, it means that they never think about a water or a wastewater job as being a career option. So how can we change that? How can we help people to reimagine the water workforce? Well, some things that we can take advantage of are the way that people communicate, which is primarily social media. See, if we were to use social media to brand water in such a way that people realize it's an important resource, and if we take advantage of dynamic images and insightful narrative to help people see that water and wastewater jobs are rewarding, that they pay well, and that they're stable, then we could certainly adjust the viewpoint of water as well as water jobs. Something else that we can do is to do public outreach. Now, public outreach oftentimes takes the form of field trips. And for young ones, the two age groups that we seem to catch them in, at least from my experience, are at the young age of, say, 8 to 10, where we really focus on the environment. We focus upon things that should or should not be flushed into the wastewater collection system or into the stormwater system. But then we don't catch those young ones again until they're in their late high school years, perhaps in their 11th and 12th grades, when they've already solidified what career path they want to do. Many times this is in water or wastewater engineering or design, super important to be sure, but they're really lacking in the operation side of things. So how can we address this? Could it be that we reach out to that middle age group, late junior high or perhaps early high school, help encourage these young ones to think about water or wastewater jobs as a career option? See, by using social media, by using public outreach at formative times in a young person's life for the incoming workforce, we can help individuals to view water as the asset that it really is. And we can also encourage them to look at water and wastewater jobs as a viable option for their future. What we're really talking about here is stewardship. And that's what Jeremey Carnahan is going to be talking about next.
Wow, that is great information. Thank you, Jeremey. Now let's talk a little bit about reimagining our workforce and what we can do to promote stewardship inside our workforce. Now, water is always changing its shape and form, and in order to be successful, we need to do the same. That's where we start talking about stewardship of our industry. Now, ultimately, this is a big subject, but it doesn't have to be. Stewardship starts at the individual level. Stewardship is about what I and you can do to help the industry. Next, we need to focus on fostering better, more effective relationships. We need to build a bridge of trust between us, the public, and the regulators. The only way to do this is through open communication, honesty, and transparency. When we fail, that needs to be shared so that everyone can learn from it. And when we succeed, everyone should come together to champion that success. We're all in this together. It's one team, one fight. Last, we need to work on building passion for this industry. We need to provide more opportunities for people to learn and invest in themselves. We have to include more people in decision-making and problem-solving processes. This is the only way people learn, through experience. And remember, making a mistake is only another opportunity to learn. Let's bring this all together and offer up a challenge to you, which shows how easy stewardship can be. Now, everyone in this industry has a very unique job. Think of a simple but unique way of describing your job and tell someone about it. By providing this simple but unique way of explaining my job, people are interested in it instead of going, "Ooh, that must stink." Thanks for watching, and please go out and help us reimagine this workforce.